Hey everybody, it's me, B the Secret Scholar, joining you with another review video. And this time we're doing Put a Ring on It. And I want to tell you off rip, this episode was super entertaining. It had just the right amount of ratchetness for me. And so much happened in so little time that I didn't even realize that the show was 45 minutes to an hour like they usually do, right? So let me know what you thought about the show. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe for me. Hit that like button for me, guys. Leave a comment. I definitely like to hear what you guys have to say about the show. So with that being said, let me go ahead and put up what the episode is. It's Put a Ring on It, episode 4, The Double Date. So we're gonna go ahead, after I do my intro, jump into my notes. But y'all, Shay showed her entire black ass on this episode, and made herself an embarrassment at the hibachi. I love hibachi, y'all. What's your favorite hibachi place? With that being said, let me go ahead and hit that intro and we'll get into these notes. But baby, Shay met a bit from Detroit, almost cussed. She met a bit from Detroit and almost got them hands or a plate knocking her ass out. But anyway, let me hit the intro, and here we go. So like the intro says, this channel is reviews, reactions, and grown-up conversations. Go take a trip around my channel to see if there's anything you like. I know you'll like, especially the chat. People seem to really like those. And some of my most popular videos are Atlanta. So if you haven't been looking at that, check that out. And of course, Put a Ring on It, which is this show, and Ready to Love. Those are my favorite videos to do because the shows are humming along and I'm really enjoying what's going on with them. So let's jump straight into the episode. And the episode basically starts off from where it was last time. It does like a little recap of what happened last time. And the way the show ended was, it kind of shows where Kenneth was talking to Shorty's friend Maisha and, giving her the time of day. And we have Fonzo basically laughing in Shay's face as usual and her crying and saying that he doesn't take infidelity seriously and it bothers her. And we have Charlie, who went out with Brent, who's running for office, and he's talking about the black community and economics and being all super fine and smart. And we have Milan and Otis out on the date and showing that basically when they got to Dr. Nicole and they were discussing the date, that Charlie gets upset when Otis scolds her and he does not agree. And she emphasizes to him that if they don't work out their differences, that they're going to end up not together. So, as usual, the show starts off with a beautiful overview. And we have Dr. Nicole and Otis. And Otis is saying that the majority of Charlie's feelings of how things happened did not happen, and was wondering when they're going to deal with those things that actually happened. That Charlie has no accountability. And then Dr. Nicole's like, hey, we can't deal with it if it's something coming from you and you won't accept it, right? You won't acknowledge it. And he's like, okay, fine. All right, whatever you say. He's super condescending. And as usual, downplaying Dr. Nicole. I don't think that he respects women, actually. And Dr. Nicole says that she's not taking away the accountability from Charlie. And she's not saying she's not playing her part, but you got to attack it from the root. And there are like basically many differences that are going long term. And if you keep rose-colored glasses on and keep saying everything's okay, it's not going to be fixed. And Dr. Nicole he says that Dr. Nicole isn't understanding or acknowledging what he's saying. And he's getting frustrated. And he's basically just not paying her any mind. So Dr. Nicole asked him if he's ready to make a decision, if you want to go out with Milan again, and he says yes. And then he's basically she asked Charlie if she's gonna go out again. But before she asks Charlie, she says, how do you feel about the decision with Otis going out again? And she's like, I'm okay with it. Hope he enjoys himself. And it's so obvious that she's lying. That's why everybody's giggling while she's talking. And so they just go into Charlie telling about her date, Brent. And she said he was easy to talk to. It was a great conversation. And she was super impressed at the fact that he studied physics. I study physics, so I'm impressed as well. And she thinks it's crazy that he actually wanted to be an astronaut at some point. And she says that you don't hear those things often from people. And Otis, of course, being Otis, is rude and says he wants to be an astronaut and that she want to go fly with him. So basically trying to clown because, she's made him sound like a little kid. Because he says he wants to be an astronaut. And Otis says, oh, she actually met the real life Buzz Lightyear. So Dr. Nicole kind of brings it back after she giggles a little to say that, oh, his ambition was appealing. And she said, yes, he's sure of himself. He's a great listener, and emphasizes a great listener to Otis. And it was just a great conversation, and he will be getting a second date. And Dr. Nicole's like, are you, basically, she's trying to check and see if Charlie's actually wanting a second date because she wants it or to make Otis mad. And she's like, no, he's absolutely getting a second date. So she asked Otis if he's feeling the same, how he feels about her going out with Brent. And he's like, I feel great. I hope she has a great time. She enjoys herself, the same thing that she said. So everybody's giggling because they know that they're all lying. So Dr. Nicole asks if they're being honest, and Otis says he's definitely being honest. And Charlie says she's absolutely being honest about wanting to go on a date with Brent again. And Dr. Nicole says you guys need to communicate fairly, stop creating conflict, and stop doing this tit for tat. But Charlie agrees that there's a lot of passive aggressive tit for tat against each other, and basically Dr. Nicole says you need to address that or you're not going to be able to fix anything. Now on to Shorty. She says she really enjoys Hollywood. I love Hollywood Al. He's my fave. He's a good conversationalist. He listens. She basically said he's the man that she prayed for, that God had for her. But she doesn't want to keep pursuing that connection because she wants to work on something with Kenneth. Dr. Nicole says, make sure you're not stopping this connection so you don't get an understanding that you need. Basically, you don't want to understand that you don't need to be with this dude, Kenneth. But, Dr. Nicole is never going to say it outright. She's going to just make you come to the decision yourself. But Shorty says she wants to work it out with her man, and she's full-fledged moving in that direction. Now they're asking Kenneth about his first date with Maisha. He says she asked a lot of questions, showed a lot of interest, and who wouldn't be in love with him, and everybody starts laughing. And I'm like, of course nobody will be in love with your ass. You're freaking crazy, like Lifetime movie crazy. And Dr. Nicole was surprised to find out that Maisha actually worked with Shorty before. I'm sure production knew, but they like to spring stuff on the host, right? And basically Shorty's like, yeah, it was all totally awkward because she walked in and gave her a hug and said, may the best woman win. And all you could see was Shay's face over there. Like Shay was having a fit. Like she was about to have a fit for her. But either way, Kenneth said he's not going on a second date with her. He said Shorty's the only playlist he wants to hear because she's a DJ. And Shorty says she's okay with him making that decision because she doesn't want to make his decisions and she's not overly invested in his decision. And y'all, I'm convinced that Shorty brought this fan on the show to break up with him, but she wanted to do it in a public place so he didn't go full Lifetime or Dateline on her ass. The same way they had an episode of, was it Family or Fiance, doing OnlyFans or whatever, and the dude gave up his football career. And it's like they didn't bring that person there to actually work something. They just wanted to break up in front of everybody so they don't kill them. All right, unalive them. Either way, she says she's feels good. Kenneth says he feels good that she's not going out with Hollywood again. And then we move on from that. Then we go to Shay and Fonzo. And Dr. Nicole says in order to have a strong relationship, there must be a strong foundation of trust. So let's talk about what infidelity means. And Shay said, you did say perceived infidelity. And she does believe that his perceived infidelity is the root of the issue. And she says the root of the perceived infidelity comes from all the friends that Fonzo has. Friends. Dr. Nicole says, what are you trying to say? He can't have any platonic friends? And she's like, no, Fonzo doesn't know what platonic means. He will see a woman that he says is a friend and won't introduce her. He'll act like she's Casper. She said this a couple times in this episode. And she said one night they were out and a lady walked up on them, and he literally had a whole conversation with this lady, and he acted like Shay wasn't even standing there. She didn't introduce or anything. And then there was another time where a girl walked up and asked him for money. He reached into his pocket, gave it to her, and never acknowledged Shay or anything. And then the girl left like, "Bye, Fonzo, thank you," and walked off. And then there was another event when they were out, and there were some girls downstairs and they were upstairs. And he tried to ignore the girls. He did not want them to come up there, and his phone started blowing up and he didn't answer. And like, she had all these different instances where Fonzo was like suspect as fuck, right? I have to cuss because it makes me angry. Anyways, and he turns around, looks her dead in the face and says she's making up stuff from 10 years ago when they weren't serious. And y'all, he was sweating like a pig. I would be so embarrassed if I was him. Like, he didn't have no deodorant in the home. There was no air. They were in a hot box. It's because his ass was lying. And that's why he wasn't answering his phone. And then they keep laughing as they're telling the stories. And Dr. Nicole calls them out because she's like, you're laughing about it, but it causes you pain. So you start crying. Is it worth the pain is all this worth the pain that it's causing? Not being able to trust him. And Fonzo said that's a great question. And Fonzo finally explains, I have a nervous laugh too. He finally expresses that it's a coping mechanism in laughing that he uses to avoid deep conversations because he doesn't like to see Shay hurt. So he gonna cheat regardless, Shay. He just don't want to see you hurt by it, right? She basically wants to clarify herself, meaning Shay. She says she never not wants to not trust Fonzo. Those are her words, not mine. That's why it's all over the place. But when he keeps saying, don't worry about it, and that you're making something up out of nothing, and then it turns out to be exactly what you thought, and you don't try to clean it up, and you say, okay, I understand your point, and that won't happen again, it feels as though the other choice is to walk away from you because you're not willing to change your actions. And I mean, this girl was really hurt. And she said that's a major part. Dr. Nicole turns around and says, everybody has choices, and you have to just decide what choice you want to make, because a relationship is built on trust, and you can't trust each other. So you're either going to manifest the actions that builds the person's ability to trust, or you don't. Because if it's not built on trust, it's built on quicksand. Then Dr. Nicole says you have a decision to make because this is not sustainable in marriage, and it's causing all types of pain right now. And Shay straight up says it's hard to see herself saying yes to marriage, because if she says yes to marriage, she doesn't want to go through a marriage without the truth. It'll all be based on a lie. And it's going to be super hard to move forward with any perceived infidelity because he's not addressing them, right? And Dr. Nicole says no matter how many women, to Fonzo, and no matter how many women come up to you, your response matters, right? Fair enough. So she turns around and she's like, we're turning up the heat and we're sending you guys on double dates. And the double dates are going to happen at the same time in the same location. So basically, you're going to see each other on a date. And Charlie starts complaining. She says it's going to inhibit everybody because we're not going to be able to focus on our own date. Dr. Nicole says it's going to be holding up a mirror so you can see how things actually go. You got to build trust and self-assuredness. She says stay focused on the person that you arrive with. Fight temptation to check your partner. Trust your partner. Feel confident in yourself so that you're able to enjoy the experience and your date. You got to approach it head on. So Fonzo's like knowing that this is not going to go down well. He knows that Shay is emotional and won't be able to handle seeing him with another female. And then it flashes over to them in the car. And we have Charlie and Otis in the car. He says he's had a lot of time to just sit with himself. And he didn't like how things went down with Dr. Nicole. And Charlie's like, why are you upset? She was coming at both of us. And he's like, no, just me. And then it goes over to Shay saying the whole friendship deal that's been swept under the rug so many times. And I was like, what friends? Have I introduced you to any new friends? And she was like, you don't introduce me at all. That's the problem. Before, like I told you, the instance with the money, I don't care how it happened. I don't care how it played out. It just didn't look right. And then they go to Kenneth and Shorty, and he says that this week was a calm week. And basically, Shorty's like, we're usually always on fire, and it's been calm. And we go, and it just flashes back over to Charlie and Otis again. And he says, you need to tell the story, how it actually happened. If you're not going to tell the truth, why are we even here? And Charlie starts talking about accountability and saying that it's an amazing word and people need to learn how to use it and what it means. And I mean, all these couples are a pure mess or whatever. Then it goes back to Shay, and she's saying that, the girls call his phone. They don't know who she is. And she just wants to be seen. And then it fades to black. So then now we're at the getting ready for the dates, and we're at Charlie's apartment. And Charlie's hitting them shots early in the morning. She's so worried about what Otis is going to do. He has built so much fear through manipulation in this girl that it's super duper, like, crazy, right? And he basically comes in and he's like, oh, well, isn't it too early for a drink? And she says it's never too early. He said, well, pour it up, right? He's there about to meet his date, and he's changed. He has his whole yoga outfit on, right? And he has on a chain, right? He has on a chain. And she's upset because he has on a chain. Because she's like, why do you need to wear a chain to go do yoga or whatever, right? And then they start arguing about the session again and how they need to fix things. And she's like, I know I have things I have to fix about myself, and what do you need to fix about you? And he says everything. She's like, what do you mean everything? He said, I need to fix everything about me. And it's like the way he makes a face and how he's condescending that makes you want to like pop him in the mouth. But either way, she's like, you're being sarcastic and nasty. But right at that time, his date shows up. And Charlie, as usual, is sipping. And Milan, which is the date, shows up in her little yoga outfit and her 90 10-inch blue ponytail with the bump under. It was kind of crazy, but they were both doing the like, hey, how you doing? How you so sweet? You so pretty. Oh my goodness, we're both pretty. And Charlie says on her first impression that Milan looks like a little girl. So do you, Charlie. So do you. And she makes sure to throw the shade and says, Otis mentioned that you look really young. And Milan's telling about herself, what she does for a living. And then they go do yoga or whatever. So, Charlie was showing straight shade or whatever. So it's like, I don't understand, Charlie. Do you really want to be with him or not? Because during the day, you obviously don't trust him, because I skipped the part. She asked Milan if he's been on his best behavior. You don't trust him to be on his best behavior? So when they were about to leave, Otis makes a slick ass comment. He was like, don't drink too fast. And it was like, what? Either way, Milan and Otis are riding in the car, and she's like, oh, Charlie's so sweet. She's so nice. She's so pretty. And are you worried about her being on her date? And he's like, I know Charlie will be jealous, but I'll be just fine. Hopefully she stays in her lane. All right, so now we're going to Fonzo and Shay. And this whole scene really hurt my feelings. Fonzo's in there getting ready, and she is such a beautiful girl. She's doing her wand curls. Her body is banging, a nice little black dress. He walks in, and he tells her to button up her shirt because she's doing too much. And she's like, I think I look good. And then, like, reality sets in, being in that they're going to be in the same room with their date. And she's like, it's so hard to see my spouse. And I'm like, why does she keep calling him her spouse? Are they married and they're lying to be on the show? Like, what is going on? Or is she already feeling like she's the wife? If that's the case, she just might as well get married and let the man cheat in peace. I don't know what the hell is going on. Anyway, she says no woman wants to see her man out with another woman, whether it's consensual or not. and it's going to be in her face, everything put up to her in a silver platter, and she starts crying. And Fonzo said something that was really weird. He says, to be honest with you, it hurt me to see her cry. It made me look at her in a different light. Like, this girl is really deep in love with me. She almost made me cry. She kind of got me shedding tears a little bit, and I'm a man. I can't be upset. We need to do the process, even though she gets upset, and he starts laughing again, right? And I'm like, y'all, he never loved that girl. He never respected that girl. He never took her to meet the family. He had girls walking up. Maybe he thought it was all a joke. Like, it just became real when she started crying over him. And now he's just super excited that he loves her, that he knows that she loves him. Like, he be on some bullshit, y'all. He be on some bullshit. So either way, we're going to go to the date, the yoga date with Charlie, right, and Brent. They're in the yoga studio. Everybody's having a nice, calm energy or whatever. And, of course, it needs to be that way because prior, I didn't get too deep in it, but Otis told Milan that he'll be okay with the date as long as Charlie's date doesn't mistreat her or talk to her bad, right? So Brent, of course, they walk in, and Brent has flowers for, I wonder if that was a poke, flowers for Charlie. They walk in, everybody starts stretching, and Otis' whole damn head almost fell off trying to see what Charlie was doing. And Charlie was off, even though he's trying to play it off by looking at Milan's back tattoo. And oh my God, Charlie was so petty. She kept looking over there, saying they didn't know what they were doing, calling the girl his daughter, all types of crazy stuff, and made Brent feel totally out of place because the focus was on Otis. And then Otis walked over because he was trying to assert his dominance and asked Charlie if she would give him a kiss, and he was so in shock when she said no. He just could not believe that Charlie said no to him. And he went back defeated. If I was both the days, I'd just clear. Y'all can have y'all toxic asses all together. Y'all can have that shit. And then and she about to lose out on Brent messing with Otis' ass. Damn it, man. Anyways, we're back with Kenneth and Shorty, and he's saying how we can do the process and how we can get the answers that Shorty wants so we can get back to us. And Shorty's looking at him like, you can do whatever you want. You're faking being on tape. You're not putting in the energy. And he says, well, you know, my focus is on you. And because we're solid. And she's like, you think we're solid? I don't think so. So she really did bring this man on here to break up with his ass or whatever. So he starts giving her the warning. He's giving her the warning that if he sees Shorty on another date and it goes past the point where somebody is holding hands or putting arms around, it's going to be a problem. And she said, it's already awkward. Don't go out of your way to make it more awkward. He said, I'm going to make it awkward for you. He says he's trying not to get close to anybody. He wants to be with her. And he thinks that they're solid. And he doesn't like when Shorty questions their relationship because it makes it seem like she doesn't want to invest in making the relationship right, between the two of them. And he says he's going to do everything in his power to make the relationship right and work for them. And I'm like, this. Anyway, so basically they're going to get through the process to get the check. So he's going to put on a show like he's actually dating. And he's going to continue to stalk that ass. That's all they're going to do, right? He goes so far to say that he feels Shorty in his soul. We're just going through the process so we can put a ring on it, right? She says, yeah, the whole point of the process is to put a ring on it or we're going our separate ways. But I feel like you're in La La Land, like it's going to be happily ever after regardless. And you don't understand what it takes to get there. He said, that's cool. And she gets upset because he's definitely not going to address the issues that they have. Now, this when the show get good. So this is this when the show get good. So this is when they go to the hibachi and tear that shit up. So we have Asar, who is gonna be Shay's date. I mean, he's decent. He all right looking. He ain't my cup of tea. He got little baby braids like Travis Scott. Got a little beard. He's in shape. And Shay gives her first impression. She said he seems very well put together, very attractive. You can feel his energy and his spirit. Even before he said anything, they sit down. He asks her if she drinks tequila. She says, I do. He says, get her 2 shots. And she's like, you trying to get me loose? He said, not necessarily. I just want you comfortable. And she's like, I think I could do that. So she's a big flirt. And she's like, what did you think when you first saw me? And he's like, she's definitely my type. And she's like, well, what's your type? And he's like, open-minded and intelligent and look good. But isn't that everybody's type? And so it seems like her love language is words of affirmation. She wants to be seen. That's why she has the issue with Fonzo, because Fonzo pays her no, never mind. And so she says she's romantic and she likes for everything to be about her and whoever she's with. And she basically she doesn't like the big crowds. It can be simple and just have good conversation, good food, and good drink. And he's toasting her to new beginnings and everything, so they got a vibe going on. And right when they're turning the hibachi fire on, everybody's living it up and everything, Fonzo walks in. Well, first the girl from Detroit, she from Detroit, walks up, and she looks like a whole 90s R&B video down to the ponytail, the whole stripe, little flowy coat and everything. Looking like, I just figured out, she looked like damn changing face. She looked like the girl from Changing Face. Her name is Tay Cherie, and she's from Detroit. And I said, oh, here come the bullshit. Because as soon as they from Detroit, they beautiful, but they like to fight. Fonzo's sitting there looking like a fake ass Rick Ross with his loud red shirt. And she's giving him confidence. She's like, I'm going to make you have a great time. Smile. It's going to be a great night. And Tay Cherie is like asking, where, as Tay Cherie and Fonzo are walking in is when Shay is asking where Asar sees himself in 5 years. And they walk in and Fonzo don't speak. And when he finally does speak, he speaks to Asar, the date. So now all the focus is going to be over there. She starts arguing because, and what she doesn't realize is the girl from Detroit was like, Fonzo, why you ain't speak to her? Because she kept amping up. And she's like, oh, I see your head motion and your hand motion. And it's something bad. What you trying to do? What you need to mute your damn company. She started going off. The Detroit girl was not having it. She's like, I'm super grown little girl, because you can tell Shay is young. She says, I feel like you got a problem with me being pretty, and you're gonna look like an idiot, because she knows she done told the man to actually speak to her or whatever. And she's like, you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing. You saying all that, you ain't gonna do nothing or whatever. And Fonzo just sitting there like, I'm gonna eat my food. He's like the meme. He's just eating his food. He don't give a fuck about Shay, period. And then the girl from Detroit like, are you that insecure? And that's when finally Fonzo tells her to sit down, right? And I'm like, what the hell? And Asar was like, I feel like it's a boxing match, because I'm trying to hold them back and I'm trying to get the attention back to me, but it wasn't gonna work. And then Shay called her a raggedy asshole and had her purse on and started walking towards her. And the girl from Detroit stood up with her plate and she was about to block out. And then that's where the show ended, y'all. That's where the show ended. And then it says, it shows like the scene for the next episode, and you see Shay in the parking lot cussing everybody out. You see Shorty going on a date and Kenneth frisking the damn date. And you find out that Milan got a DM from Otis, old ass, and Charlie gets upset and says she's gonna leave. But either way, the whole thing is a complete cluster and a shit show. None of these people should be together. So let's go through the couples real quick, because I have a little bit of time. So the issue I see with Charlie and Otis is he does not respect her, and his definition of submitting is, Charlie, shut the fuck up. That's it. Just be shutting the fuck up, and I'll pay the bills, You're not here to be heard. You're just here to be pretty. And Otis is very condescending. He's not gonna. None of his help is gonna work. He's gonna either find somebody that looks just like her to do what he wants, or he's gonna beat her down so much that she goes into submission. Then you have Shorty and Kenneth. Shorty and Kenneth. This show is a cry for help. Shorty is taking care of Kenneth, and she want to take him off her payroll, and he ain't gonna go out without a fight. Believe me, I know he's not gonna go out without a fight. Okay. Then we have Shay and Fonzo. They have no business being together. Shay wants to be married so that she will be recognized as the main woman in Fonzo's life, and he's not gonna do it. He thinks she's annoying. He wants to be able to cheat in peace. But the problem is she looked good, the body banging, and it looked like the house was well taken care of. So, and she doesn't give as much of a fuss as she's pretending to give on this TV, because how is that many women feeling comfortable walking up on you and your man doing all them shenanigans? Y'all couldn't be me. It couldn't be me. I'd be acting a whole damn ass. Then he gets on Instagram with his, like, going back to the first episode, I still ain't got over that. You go on Instagram on a family trip with your mama and all them, and I'm at the house watching from the house? What? Negro, you don't look that damn good. You don't look that good. I don't care, big, tall, bald. Y'all know that's how I like them. No, you do not look that damn good for me to go through all this stress. And then Shay needs to stop walking up on people. You can tell she's not a fighter. She's gonna catch some goddamn hands, and it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna work out well for her, and Fonzo's not gonna save her. And on top of that, Fonzo could care two shits about Shay. He doesn't care about her at all. First of all, the way he let all those chicks walk up on her and disrespect her and don't do anything about it. Then on top of that, you mean to tell me he just realized she actually cared about him? That means he never took the relationship serious. He was around here bullshitting, doing whatever he wanted to do to her because he didn't think she was serious, and that he was like, oh, I was acting an ass. You really love me, huh? I ain't know. Dang, let me act right. That's pretty much what the dude is doing. He doesn't care about this lady at all. And why was the date, because Shay even said it, why was the date more worried about her fighting and getting hurt and trying to handle the situation than Fonzo, big fat ass? Y'all, Y'all, if they're doing this for ratings, it's working. Because Ready to Love was a hot mess ass too. But I'm going to come with a review for that too. I'm trying to get these videos out. But that's the end of the video. This is all a mess. I don't know why we're here, but I guess it's giving good content. Thank you, Thank you, Will Packard. We appreciate you so much to put some shit on TV that makes our lives look calm and happy in comparison. With that being said, love who loves you. I hope God blesses you with everything that you need. And the Sepia Scholar is out. Love y'all so much. Let me hit y'all with outro.